This presentation is an introduction to dyslexia and other specific learning difficulties. I'm Jane Warren, Specialist Dyslexia Practitioner at the University of Southampton. This is the first of two sessions aimed at raising your awareness of how to support students with dyslexia and other specific learning difficulties. This session will provide an overview of the different conditions, so is best viewed first. The second session will focus specifically on the types of problems someone with a learning difficulty may experience, and how you, as a mentor or supervisor, can help them with their practice. The aims of this session are to explore what we mean by the term dyslexia, and to look briefly at the other types of learning difference. You will probably already be aware, as a mentor or supervisor, that the students you will most likely be called upon to support are the dyslexic ones. To support them effectively, you will need an understanding of what dyslexia means, and it's worth you taking some time now to think about your current understanding of dyslexia. There is a variety of definitions of dyslexia, looking at different aspects of what it means. Some definitions are far more complex than others, but perhaps one of the most helpful has been written by Lindsay Peer on behalf of the British Dyslexia Association. She sees dyslexia as a combination of abilities and difficulties. A dyslexic student's learning can be affected in a variety of ways, with an impact on all aspects of study. Alongside literacy difficulties, a dyslexic student might also process information more slowly than others, or have problems with sequencing or short-term or working memory. Some students might also experience visual perceptual difficulties, known as visual stress or Erland syndrome, or spoken language issues such as word retrieval or pronunciation difficulties. Dyslexia, the key facts. Dyslexia is only one of a group of conditions known as specific learning difficulties, or SPLDs for short, but it is the most prevalent. It affects around 1 in 10 of the population at varying levels of severity, and in certain professions such as nursing, the prevalence can be even higher. Each dyslexic student is an individual, and they all have a unique profile of difficulties and personal strengths. Dyslexia is not an illness which can be cured, but individuals can learn strategies to compensate for their difficulties. Students with dyslexia have the same potential and can achieve the same results as any other student, as dyslexia in itself has nothing to do with intelligence or social class. People with dyslexia have a different kind of mind, and they can often be extremely gifted and productive. It's just that the way they learn is different from other people's. One way of looking at how dyslexia might affect a person's life is given by John Osmond in his inspiring book, The Reality of Dyslexia. He sees the experience of having dyslexia like an aerial on a television not being quite focused on the transmitter. The television itself is in perfect working order, but the sound and the pictures are blurred. It is, however, important to remember that dyslexia combines strengths with weaknesses, and there are many positive characteristics associated with dyslexia. Dyslexic people can be notably caring, empathetic and intuitive, which is why they are often drawn to the nursing and allied health professions and may appear overrepresented. They can be very good strategic and holistic thinkers, with an ability to see the big picture. They can be good at problem solving, are often creative and original, and many dyslexic people are extremely determined and hard-working. Although many dyslexic people do not consider themselves to be disabled, dyslexia is recognised as a disability under the Equality Act 2010, and students are therefore entitled by law to receive reasonable adjustments to help them overcome any dyslexia-related difficulties. However, it is obviously essential that dyslexic students still demonstrate that they are fit for practice. They are expected to achieve all the same learning competencies and skills as other students. The key factor here is that any reasonable adjustments should be put in place before a competency is assessed, in order for the student to develop the compensatory strategies. As mentioned, dyslexia belongs to a group of conditions known as specific learning difficulties, or SPLDs. There are many overlaps between the conditions, and it is more important to understand the impact the condition has on the individual, rather than to be overly concerned with the specific label. However, the following slides will give you a very brief insight into 3 of the other conditions. Dyspraxia is sometimes called developmental coordination disorder, or DCD. It occurs when parts of the brain fail to mature properly as they develop. The Dyspraxia Foundation describes dyspraxia as an impairment or immaturity in the organisation of movement. Together with this, there may be problems with language, perception and thought. There is some controversy about what dyspraxia actually is, but most people agree that it affects gross motor skills, which can result in problems with balance, and fine motor skills, resulting in poor manual dexterity. Associated problems with general organisation can extend to the organisation of ideas, such as getting ideas across in written form in a concise way. Some dyspraxic people are very strong verbally. Dyscalculia is very much more than being bad at maths, and in its true sense it is a very rare condition. People often self-diagnose and say that they are dyscalculic when really they just have difficulty with maths. Dyscalculia itself is about an inability to conceptualise numbers. It can cause general numerical problems, such as reading numbers incorrectly on charts, calculation-related problems, such as drug calculations, time-related problems, such as estimating how long an individual task may take, and day-to-day life problems such as dealing with money. Some dyslexic people also have maths difficulties. This does not necessarily mean dyscalculia as such. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, can affect both attention and concentration. People with ADHD will find it difficult to focus on tasks. It is usually associated also with impulsivity. Students can act very quickly without thinking things through at times. It may also include hyperactivity, but not always, and this does decrease with maturity. However, it is now believed that 67% of children diagnosed with ADD or ADHD will continue to experience some symptoms into adulthood. Specific learning difficulties are also known as specific learning differences, because the key feature is that all individuals affected have a different way of thinking and consequently learn differently from other people. Students with many of these conditions have the potential to succeed and achieve in the same way as their peers, but research has shown that very often they have to work considerably harder to do so, as tasks can take them far longer to learn than other people. The key to their success is to develop a range of strategies that will help them to overcome any personal difficulties. The next presentation will guide you, as a mentor or supervisor, to support them in doing this.